I noticed that my thumbs didn't have the dexterity that it normally does when I'm playing video games and I'm reviewing games, stuff like that. So I went down to my doctor and I says, John, I don't know what's going on here. It's slowly just starting to deteriorate. He then put me on to a physiotherapist. The physiotherapist gave me some physiotherapy moves to stretch the nerve that comes down the arm and leg, thinking it was a trapped nerve or something from the flight from sitting or sleeping in an awkward position or something like that. Came around to sort of January, February then, and I was like, John, we're not having any goods on this. It was sort of slowly getting worse, but very slowly. John wanted me to have an MRI scan, and I couldn't afford one.
Motor neuron disease is one of a larger group of conditions called the neurodegenerations, characterised, I suppose, mainly by loss of motor function. That's how it got its name. I
still had manoeuvrability of my right thumb, still able to play video games, still able to type, do all that sort of stuff that I normally do.
It takes about a year to 15 months from the first symptom that the person has to the time that they get a formal diagnosis of the condition.
The funny thing about it was, it didn't feel like anything I'd ever felt before. Well, it felt like my hand was moving in slow motion on my brain. So it's sort of like Inception, when they sort of break from dreams. They're moving at the same pace they always did, but it just slows down slightly. So when I'd send a signal to my thumb to move, it just didn't move as fast. It just sort of,
The first symptoms of motor neuron disease could be, for example, a little bit of a slur in the speech, or a bit of difficulty swallowing, or some weakness and clumsiness in a hand, or a bit of a drag in the leg, or a tendency to fall.
That's the fastest I can move them two fingers together. Now, that was what this hand did. Now this hand basically does nothing. Or it still has some manoeuvrability, which is a good thing, because I haven't lost everything in it. I can still carry shopping and feel people's boobs and stuff.
It's a series of losses, you know, and you're waking up and there's something that you could do 4 weeks ago that it turns out that you can't do anymore.
It's pretty much a wasted arm.
The nerves that control motor function start degenerating. Now, it's what's called a system degeneration. The neurons going from the brain down into the spine, which are called the upper motor neurons, and the neurons coming from the spine into the muscle, called the lower motor neurons, start giving trouble.
The trip to Australia was my last swan song of, I'm done with depression, I'm finished. As soon as I come home and get back to work again. I was going to start getting fit and cycling. Myself and Roger had a cycling regime. Everything was like new lease of life, fabulous. Depression's over. I've been away to Australia. I've seen the family. I've seen the brothers. Seen all that. Now let's just start my new life. And then unfortunately, my new life is motor neuron disease.
One person with motor neuron disease is diagnosed in Ireland every 3 days. There's about 110 every year. It doesn't sound like a lot. 300 people in Ireland at any one time with motor neuron disease. We don't have a cure for motor neuron disease, and it does progress. I don't like to think of the term downhill, because there are many things that we can do in motor neuron disease to improve the effects of the disease. The one thing we can't do, unfortunately, is arrest it or cure it.
There's no miracle cure out there. There's no drugs. There's nothing. It's a different thing to cancer. You can say something to I've got cancer, you go, oh yeah, I know 6 people that have cancer. It's like, oh okay, you get chemotherapy, you get this, you get that, you get that, you get cured or you die. Motor neuron disease, there's only one outcome, and that's you die.
An animal that climbs trees.
Squirrel.
A means of transport.
Helicopter.
That's very good. Perfect.
My family are fantastic and they're uber supportive, fabulously supportive, but they're also fabulously great at talking around subjects. So I said, no, we need to confront this straight away. This is confrontation 101. So I sat everyone down and I went through my frame of mind. Obviously my mother and father were scared because I'm coming from depression in case I relapse into depression. Suicide is also a friend. So I need to sit them down and just say, I'm not depressed. I've never been happier. I'm happy with the disease. I'm okay the way I am. And believe me, I'm safe at home by myself. When I need to concentrate on moving like stairs or anything like that, I'm 100% focused on walking downstairs.
So
My brain still works.
Your brain still works. So we will repeat this test in 3 months from now.
If I'm carrying hot things, I'm concentrating. I'm not lackadaisical anymore, so there's no need to worry about me living at home. Someday you might find me dead in my house, but like, it's not going to be right away. I can still hold things, but I don't have dexterity and...
Yeah. Can you cut food?
No. It's a license to be lazy for the rest of your life. And that's all I've ever wanted. You know, it's all anyone wants. If you like lounging around, watching TV, watching movies, playing video games, doing all that sort of stuff. I did all the physical stuff. I played golf, I played football and all that sort of thing. But I'm like going, I'm okay. I'm quite happy to sit on the couch for a day and watch TV and talk to friends. Friends come over and all that sort of stuff. I'm okay not running around kicking football again. You know what I mean? As I said, the only thing that's lost now is football's lost me. And that's how I look at it. Like, you know what I mean? Golf has lost me. The sadness I'd feel is I used to really enjoy company while playing sports. Sports was irrelevant. The company is what I still have, because people come to me now rather than going out. So a golfing event, people will always say, "Oh, you're going around the golf course." I'm like, "Oh, I'm not. I'm walking around the golf course with 4 people having a conversation." The golf is the means for us being together. It's not the reason why I came here. One day, like not even 24 hours after being diagnosed, all the guys were over playing video games, and they're all sitting around going like, what the hell? Like Shane was sitting there going, "Joe, if I found out I got a disease like that, I'd be at home smashing the place up." And I'm like going, well, that doesn't really get you anywhere. There's no point in wasting time now. This disease is taking me a day at a time. So every day I waste is a wasted day. The main problem that I have then is, as much as I like empathy and sympathy, as much as the next man, like, oh yeah, centre of attention and stuff like that, it's not something I've ever tried for. So people, I'm like going, yeah, listen, I love all that, I love you guys, I love everyone around me, and I have a fabulous friend network like around me. I was like, by all means, be sad, but never to my face. If you feel like you're going to cry, leave the room. I do not want it in my face, because the problem that I'll have then is, if you go, I go, and then that's time wasted for me, and I really didn't want any of that.
Okay, so just relax your arm, that's fine. Yeah, that's grand.
People's quality of life doesn't decline with motor neuron disease. It is very counterintuitive, because you and I, if we were taught that we're going to be told with motor neuron disease tomorrow, we think, oh my God, I'll have a terrible quality of life. What happens is that if we allow people to choose themselves, what are the aspects of their life that give them a good quality of life? I suppose people who are able-bodied would often choose their health, you know, and being well. Whereas if your health is giving you trouble, often people will say, well, I'm going to put that to one side and I will derive my quality of life from other aspects of my life. And so that's called a shift. It's a psychological shift that people make, and so that they can get on with, they make peace with the diagnosis, and they get on with living. And people do that. Most people are able to do that as part of the human condition.
My younger brother Joe got diagnosed with motor neuron disease there last June, and we decided to run a tri-continental fundraiser for him, being held here in Dublin at the Elsa Pool in the airport, in the Echo Park Pool in New York, the Royston Pool in Barnsley, and in the Aquatic Centre South Australia in Adelaide. So between all 4 events, we're helping to swim 200 kilometres to raise as much money as we can for Joe and for the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association.
The whole thing about the disease is, like, it is degenerative, but as I said, it's only degenerative in your muscles. It does nothing to your spirit, your mind, or anything like that. You have to celebrate your disability. Like, there's no point in hiding behind a disability. Celebrate your disability. You drive fabulously into that disabled spot and you get out going, I'm parking right next to the cinema. Walkers, and then you walk on. You know what I mean? There's no point in looking at it negatively.
We've got people in New York who've done 10k, we've got people in Adelaide who've done 15k, and we've got Ben Harrison and his mum who did 40k over the last 2 days. So we really are making a fantastic effort here anyway for the Aqua Marathon for Joe.
Obviously I'm not allowed to lose weight.
No.
See, Ma, I'm not allowed to lose weight. You don't understand how anxiety makes me tired, frustration and all that. So, because obviously I'm her son, she doesn't want to believe I'm slowly dying. It expands my lungs more, forces more air in. So it gives me extra breath and allows me to talk a lot freer. You'll be able to tell the difference straight away. Whereas normally I get 3 or 4 words out per breath, now I'm getting full sentences out and be able to talk for longer.
My father said a great thing a while ago about, he just said, Joe, I could win the lottery tomorrow and I couldn't buy your friends. And I was like, that's perfect, like, because the friends that I do have still come over. As I said, the day after I was diagnosed, everyone was sitting here playing game night like it was a regular Friday, because it was a regular Friday. The only difference was there was a name to what was wrong with me. But I don't see the name as a disaster. I see the name as, it's very freeing, because now I can go, this is what I have. I don't need to use an excuse for my actions anymore. My actions are going to speak for the disease now, and I'm like going, yeah, whatever, I can stumble and fall, I can fall over, I can do all these sort of things. But as I said, I can get back up again, there's no problem. But a lot of the times when I do fall over, there's somebody there to help me.
First Carrera forward. Slight bit of acceleration issue, and I lost 2 fillings when he broke in the 3rd corner.
It does look like it's kind of effortful for you to chew.
Yeah, I get Meals on Wheels, so sometimes they'll send beef out.
Okay.
That is like rubber and
Yeah.
no.
You have to be light-hearted with it. There's no way to take this seriously. If you take it seriously, the disease has won and it swallows you up and then basically just spits you out as a lump of jelly. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I really don't want to have any of that around me. So, as I said, every day I can live is every day I can live.
Mentally, I'm still as strong as I ever was, but my body has taken a bit of a beating. I can no longer walk unaided, and as you can hear, my speech has become very monotone. The difficulty I have with this is when I'm talking to new people, they think I'm mentally handicapped. When I'm not, I'm actually brighter than most people in the room. And I've always had that mentality of how does it feel to be the smartest man in the room, but sound like the dumbest. I'm very smart-minded, and now it takes me longer to get my point across on my slogan a bit quicker. Hey, Kathleen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, listen, I rang Turlock about glasses.
What are you wearing? fame. Please help. Always is appreciated. My God, with I am in the ages especially, and get to the right people and in the right way. So please help when you can. Thank you.
I always wanted to run a marathon, so as I said, the good thing about it is now I might be able to do that. I'll just feel sorry for the poor bastard pushing me in the chair.